They say hindsight is 2020, so you should all have no problems picturing this. A high school student spends 50% of her freshman and sophomore years in a Zoom classroom, under lockdown, suspended in stasis and catatonia. Sounds familiar, right? But now the earth spins again, and she lives to face another day, one we can't recognize this time. The COVID-19 pandemic has had an irreversible impact on students all around the world. But as countries and institutions return to some semblance of normalcy, a new type of student has emerged, the post-pandemic student. Over the last 3 years, school closures, quarantines, lost instructional time, and staff shortages have all completely derailed the traditional school experience for some 62.5 million students globally, with math and reading scores dropping so sharply as to obliterate 2 whole decades of progress in these subjects. And as we all know, in response, exams were canceled, grade boundaries lowered, universities made tests optional. But what will student life look like once we've moved past the pandemic? This gap still very much withstanding, and lose these concessions too. Here in Shenzhen, China, my classmates and I spent a total of 1 whole year in lockdown with no in-person schooling. But with the zero COVID policy recently lifted, we're suddenly launched back into a curriculum we're far behind and held to the standards of a pre-pandemic yesteryear and expected to excel. To get that GPA, to get into that university, we're expected to get that A in grade 11 math, when the last time we had an uninterrupted year of schooling was way back in the 8th grade. This is a huge knowledge gap. And because of the inherent flaws of unnatural selection, students who can't afford tutors to make up their grades, to learn instruments and languages to boost their extracurriculars, will have a far higher chance of getting into better universities and maybe even get better jobs than those that don't, compounding the income inequality that caused this in the first place. In addition, the lack of in-person support for special needs students these past years, as well as systemic racial and gender inequalities, will continue to plague the post-pandemic students for years to come. A recipe for disaster, ready to go. Worse, CDC data from 2021 alone shows that 33% of students in the US experienced poor mental health. That's more than a third, while 44% reported that they persistently felt sad or hopeless, all at the tender age of high school or even middle school. So much so that the American Academy of Pediatrics has declared this a national emergency. And if left unchecked, this can bear an uncanny resemblance to yet another global health crisis, which I'm sure we all don't need right now. And these are just a few of the struggles in our stressed out student heads. But if there's anything we've learned from this at all, it's that the pervasive doom and gloom have shaped an even more adaptable post-pandemic student. When lockdowns forced us to stay at home, technology shifted from being a means of conversing between in-person interactions to our primary mode of learning and communication. So let's leverage our digital tools because, that's what they were made for. Regardless of where or who we are, students can use YouTube videos or mass open online courses to rebuild academic foundations or pursue new interests. Self-management shouldn't be an issue since we've had to organize our schoolwork, responsibilities to friends and family, and self-care independently all throughout online learning, which doubtless will be ways to better prepare us for college and the real world. And in a real world so profoundly changed, yet so rapidly rebuilding, such a balance is crucial. Academics aside, because I'm sure we're all tired of that, these past 3 years of nurturing distance relationships have taught us to arrange video calls or text family and friends for emotional support wherever they are, whenever we need it. The post-pandemic student knows how important it is to foster these healthy connections. Having survived mask wearing, testing, and social distancing for so long, the sacrifices we've made to protect those around us have instilled our cohort with developmentally advanced maturity, empathy, compassion, and resilience, all things we need to help ourselves and those around us navigate stressors amidst the mental health crisis. The pandemic has shown us an upset and upsetting world, but also the true power of the internet, the undeniable resilience of the student, and what we as a society need most to survive. And post-pandemic students are caught between a rock and a hard place, but we will not be crushed if we can seize advantage from catastrophe. If you're a post-pandemic student, you'll be okay. We can use our newfound tech savvy to catch up on schoolwork or to learn new hobbies. We can understand how family and friends are central to life as we knew and know it, and value them more deeply and easily as a result. We've reevaluated our lives these past few years, and many of the mechanisms we've used to cope with COVID may sustain us well beyond that, helping us salvage the best of a messy past and lend some certainty to the future. Thank you.